Let's have a difficult but necessary conversation today about protecting our kids. We often hear about school shootings, and rightfully so. It's a horrifying tragedy, and when it happens, it shakes all of us. Any loss of life is devastating. But there's another issue that claims far more teen lives every year, and it's something we can do more about: car accidents. Each year, around 15 teenagers die in school shootings. And while each of those deaths is heartbreaking, here's a reality that needs more attention. Over 2,300 teenagers die every year in car crashes. That's about 6 teenagers a day, every single day. For teens aged 15 to 19, motor vehicle accidents are the leading cause of death, accounting for nearly 40% of all deaths in this age group. When we compare the numbers, it's clear. As much as we want to make our schools safer, and we absolutely should, we need to take a much broader approach when it comes to saving our kids' lives. Let's talk about what's happening behind the wheel. First, speeding plays a role in about 30% of fatal teen crashes. In fact, teens are more likely than any other age group to be involved in crashes where speed is a factor. Why? Because teens tend to underestimate dangers on the road or fail to control their vehicle in high-speed situations. And what about distraction? Studies show that over 40% of teen drivers admit to texting while driving at least once in the past 30 days. Now think about that for a second. Texting while driving increases the risk of crash by 23 times. It's not just phones though. Passengers can be just as distracting. If a teen is driving with 2 or more passengers, their risk of being involved in a fatal crash triples. That's a 300% increase just from having friends in the car. Then there's inexperience. Newly licensed drivers, especially in the first 6 months after getting their license, are at the highest risk. About 1 in 4 fatal crashes involving teens happens within that first year of driving. It's not that teens are reckless by nature, but they simply don't have the years of experience to know how to react quickly and safely to unexpected situations, like a car swerving in front of them or a sudden obstacle on the road. Now let's look at alcohol. Even though teens can't legally drink, alcohol is still involved in about 1 in 5 fatal crashes among teenage drivers. And here's the shocking part. Even with a blood alcohol concentrate well below the legal limit, let's say 0.02, which is about 1 drink for many people, teens are far more likely to crash compared to an adult with the same blood alcohol concentration. One more thing we need to address: seatbelts. About half of all teens who die in car crashes were not wearing a seatbelt at the time. That's an avoidable tragedy. Wearing a seatbelt cuts the risk of death by 45% for drivers in the front seat. These numbers paint a clear picture. While we absolutely must continue to focus on school safety, we can't ignore the far greater risk our teens face every day on the road. Improving how we teach teens to drive, setting firm boundaries around things like speed, distractions, and drinking, and encouraging seatbelt use. These are all simple, actionable ways we can make a much bigger impact on saving lives. So let's shift our focus. It's not just about protecting them from rare, devastating events like school shootings, though, of course, we must, but about creating a culture where road safety is a priority, because every time our teens get behind the wheel, they're facing a risk that we as parents and communities have the power to reduce. Let's commit to that change for them, for all of us. We can easily solve the number one killer of teens. We can set speed limits automatically in cars. We have the technology, and we have the technology so that phones don't work when cars are in motion. But we fail to take these simple, easily administered policies